Thanks for coming out today. I wanted to give a weather update and to tell a little bit about what the state of North Carolina is doing to get ready for this winter storm. I have with me Transportation Division Engineer Pat Ivy. I have Emergency Management Center Branch Manager Steve Powers with me. I have Highway Patrol Lieutenant Tyree Needham, and also have our interpreter for the deaf, Monica McGee, who is with our Department of Health and Human Services. Wanted to let you know that for most of central North Carolina, we are now under a winter storm warning. That means that we can expect snow and hazardous driving conditions over the next 24 hours. The forecast says that most of the state will be impacted in some way. So I urge everyone in North Carolina to keep an eye on the weather forecast in their particular areas because we've learned, particularly over the past few months, that local accumulations can be pretty significant in some areas. We know that snow will begin this evening in the mountains and move east overnight. And we know that we're going to expect snow in the Triangle, the Triad, and even down east now. The forecasts say the skies will be clear by Wednesday night, but below freezing temperatures on Wednesday night means that we can expect continuous hazardous driving conditions on Thursday morning. But the good news is that the temperatures are expected to climb above freezing for most of the state on Thursday, giving us a chance to thaw out and getting our roads in a better condition. We are not expecting ice accumulation, so that should reduce the risk of power outages that we see sometimes in these ice storms. And we know that forecasts can change quickly. So we're preparing now, and we want to urge everyone to do the same. Our state and local emergency managers are coordinating closely on the response to this storm. And in Raleigh, we will activate the State Emergency Operations Center on Wednesday morning. That means our key emergency response team will be there, such as the Department of Transportation, the Highway Patrol, National Guard, Emergency Management, the Public Utilities, and others. They're all seasoned. They're ready for this storm as they have in the past, and we know that they will be there ready to do a good job. I am declaring a state of emergency for the entire state effective today. This allows us to deploy essential assets for storm response and storm recovery as needed, and we'll be providing a copy of that executive order, state of emergency, for you right after this event. Our state troopers across North Carolina are adjusting their staffing assignments to ensure that we have extra coverage in the areas that we expect to be most heavily affected. And also want to tell people that our state troopers will be marking abandoned vehicles along the roadway. And the Highway Patrol is coordinating with our law enforcement officers across the state and emergency responders to check all abandoned vehicles to ensure that there's no one there who is left stranded. And we are following the state's quick clearance policy. This allows road crews to swiftly clear roads by pushing any vehicles that may impede traffic to the shoulder of the highway to make sure that the roadway is cleared. We're already hearing about a number of school closings and delays. We expect to hear more over the next several hours, and we just want you to keep an ear out for those closings and others that may affect you and your family. And for state employees, we are putting the adverse weather policy into effect. That means that mandatory state employees must continue to report to work because they perform essential job functions, particularly during the type of storm that we expect to have. Non-mandatory state employees working in storm-affected areas should use their discretion. And all state employees should stay in touch with their supervisors and use good caution and safe judgment. And remember to stay in contact with your supervisors. Our Department of Transportation road crews are already hard at work getting our roadways ready for another wintry blast that we've gotten over the last couple of months. They've already pre-treated roads with more than 1 million gallons of brine. I visited earlier today at a DOT station in Yadkin County and visited with some of the road crews. And today we're here in Forsyth County at their maintenance yard. And I want to say a special thank you to our Department of Transportation road crews. They go out when it is very cold and they're trying to prepare our roads so that travel can be safer for people. And to tell you a little more specifically about it, I'm going to have Pat Ivy, who is with the DOT, who's going to give you some more specifics. So Pat.
Thank you, Governor Cooper. As the governor said, all across the state, DOT crews have been out all day pre-treating the roads with the brine mixture. And as he said, 1.7 million gallons of brine have been placed so far all across the state, with nearly 1,200 DOT workers being involved in these operations statewide. Now tonight we anticipate crews will come in overnight in anticipation of the storm in all of our counties across the state, and they will begin pushing snow as soon as there is enough to plow, which is usually about 1 to 2 inches. We do ask that drivers, if you have to be out tonight and during the storm, please give our trucks plenty of room. That is for your safety as well as the safety of our workers, and to give them enough room to do their jobs. Thank you very much. Governor?
Thank you, Pat. We are grateful for all the workers who continue to do their job even when conditions get tough. And thank you for all of our law enforcement officers and emergency responders as well, including the utility crews who fix the lines and our power. I want to encourage everyone to make the jobs of all of these people easier by staying off the roadway when travel becomes treacherous. Unnecessary travel not only puts you at risk, but it also can put first responders at risk, particularly if you end up needing help from them. The more vehicles we have on the road, it's tougher for our DOT crews to treat and clear the roads and to get them operating and cleared again. So please stay off the road unless you absolutely have to do that when conditions get hazardous in your area. And we always want to remind people of the safety tips, and I'll take questions you have after that. But we want you to watch the weather forecast and monitor it carefully. Stay off the road when driving becomes dangerous. If you absolutely must have to travel, clear your vehicle before you drive, slow down, and leave room between vehicles more than you usually would. If you need an alternate source of heat for your home, make sure that you know how to do that safely. Don't run generators or light grills indoors. You can follow storm updates on Facebook and Twitter under NC Emergency and under NC DOT. And you can get the latest road conditions via the Ready NC mobile app or either drivenc.gov. This gives you real-time reports of road conditions so that you'll know. I'll be glad to take a few questions that you might have.
Overall, how many inches is the state expecting on a range to the highest?
You know, I think most of the state is expecting 1 to 2 inches. There's some parts of the states looking at 2 to 4, and locally, in some localities, it could be more than that. I think the central part of the state is where they're looking at it to be the heaviest. The good news is that it's been a fairly warm day, so hopefully we won't get a lot of accumulation on our roads, and the fact that we have treated a lot of the main roads is very positive. But it's going to get colder later tonight. It will be very cold on Thursday morning as well. So we know that people need to be very careful and stay in touch with your forecasts so that you know what's going on out there. Yes.
Is there a concern that we could be running out of supplies or funding? Because are we going to have enough to last through the winter?
Well, clearly we've seen a few more storm instances earlier in the winter than we normally see. I think the Department of Transportation, emergency responders are ready for this type of thing, and I don't see a resource problem at this point. And what we want to do is you want to make sure you want to be safe rather than sorry. And we know that earlier in the winter we had a western storm that was much more significant than the forecasters had predicted. So we just want to make sure that we're ready. We want people not to overreact, but we want you to be very careful and to listen to the weather forecast, and particularly if they're closing schools, we really want people to stay off the road because it does cause problems for the vehicles that have to be out there and causes problems for our emergency responders as well. Other questions you might have? All right, thank you very much. We appreciate it.